Yes, I do know that some people they genuinely want the best for the public transport, like the bus in this case for the island. But the thing is, the way that they go about doing things is like sometimes flat out delusional. I have seen people, like for some reason, because they hate feeders, doing things like, oh, let me just, amend something like this, or like this, or like this, or like this. I mean, there's 29, but like, or even stuff like this. I've seen people trying to force the trunks to absorb the feeder buses, like it's like forced integration. But what they don't realize is that this junction here is a problem. It's an intersection between an expressway, a road, and another road that branches out. The reason why this road, Old Tampines Road, even branches out like this is because of history. Before TPE was even a thing, this road was one road, and then this one was another road called Tampines Road, and then there was just like one intersection, and that's all. So, whatever you have today is just a leftover of the changes in the road network from the past to now. And the thing is, like, when you have this kind of setup, like, you have buses turning like this, you have like 53 or 518A or 661, you have them turning like this, you have 34 and stuff turning like this. When you consider everything, it's just not worth it, not just cost, but like, it doesn't really even serve any purpose. It's not worth it to convert like a few lanes along this road to be bus only. Yes, you benefit the straight ones, but you still have like the buses turning in to deal with. Because it's like you have 4, you have 29, and it's only one lane. There is just no way you can put a bus only lane along this like corridor that goes into Old Tampines Road. And I just don't get it what's like the whole obsession with bus only lanes. You have to remember that like it's not just buses that use the road. Cars use the road as well. And even people who drive for a living, like taxis, lorries and everything. It's not just private vehicles. People also drive for a living. When I mean drive for a living, I mean like they drive to get people from place to place or to deliver their goods. That's what driving for a living means. And it is really selfish if you want to convert like such a huge road to just bus only, just to push your own agenda. The one big difference between trunk buses and feeder buses that some people up till today still don't get, or they're way too like stubborn to accept it, is that okay, let's just say this one is the boundary. So feeder buses obviously their fares are capped to like 3.2 kilometers per kilo 3.2 kilometers. So even if you travel more than like 3.2 kilometers on the feeder service, it doesn't really matter because the whole bus service is like more or less flat fare. Not really flat fare, but it's like it's capped to 3.2. You exceed that amount, you still pay the 3.2 km fare. So that's one thing. And this is basically the boundary of like Tampines. So as long as you cross this boundary into like Pasir Ris, like the planning area, you would have to make it a trunk. Like when you merge 294 and 357 into service 3, you cross the boundary and it becomes a trunk service. There is just no no debate about this. This is the reason why some people, despite 315 being slower, they still decide to take it over 116, which is faster from like Serangoon to Serangoon North, simply because of the fares. So when you convert a feeder service to a trunk service, you have to take that into consideration. have to take into account that like there might be backlash. And then the other thing is that you already know that this junction is really prone to congestion, and putting bus only lanes over there is just not gonna solve everything. It's just not, because it's like you have buses turning here, turning here, like I've explained. So the implications is that if you send everything to this corridor or like junction, the frequencies for buses passing through all these areas, like literally all these areas, like this, like this, like this, I don't know, maybe even like this, you just screwed all of these services because you make them run through the congestion. Because you're like, oh, I want to use trunks to eliminate all the feeders, but you just make all of these services really, really unreliable. In this case, to put it short, the feeders, they stay within the boundary of Tampines. They are not affected, for the most part, by external traffic that's like around this area. They are only affected by the traffic that's like within this big area, and nothing coming from Loyang in this case. And because of that, even if it's a town link like 291, like 291 or 293, which used to be like that, but they made it like one big round. Even when you have a town link like this, like 293 that's so long, it's not affected by traffic over here. So there's nothing for you to worry about when it comes to service reliability. It is also the same reason, again, conceptually, why they chose to send 46 to Pasir Ris instead of like, oh, making all the feeders from this area go up, or like making the feeders from Tampines West go up. No, they made 46 go Pasir Ris, and they don't like do any of the feeder integration, like a new service tree, that kind of thing. No, they don't do that. Another big concern is that there is a whole load of traffic that's like coming from this general area. So that is kind of the reason why you really don't want to send too many bus services along, this general corridor, unless you have no choice. I mean, they even amended 969 to go here instead of like this. All I can say is it is a good thing that whatever they plan, that 299, it avoids this area. I mean, it goes here, but that's another can of worms that I would talk about in part 2.